Hello, boys and girls. It's time for another religion lesson, and today we're going to be learning about the Holy Spirit. Now, you might remember that we have been learning about the Trinity. If you've forgotten, the Trinity is the three parts of God, the three persons that are in one God. Okay? There is God the Father and God the Son, which is Jesus. We've done two videos on him on God the Father and Jesus last week. So if you've forgotten about that, feel free to go back and watch those. Okay? But today we're going to be doing the Holy Spirit, which is the last part of when we do the sign of the cross. We do in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Okay, so the Holy Spirit is the third part of the Trinity. Now, the Holy Spirit, as you can see on the screen here, I've got a picture of the dove. Now, the Holy Spirit is a little bit tricky to understand what the Holy Spirit is. I've got a picture of the dove, but that's not actually what the Holy Spirit looks like. Okay, that's just a symbol we use to represent the Holy Spirit, because of course we can't actually see the Holy Spirit in physical form like this. So we have symbols that represent the Holy Spirit and help us understand what the Holy Spirit does. Okay, so I've actually got a slideshow here that I'm going to go through with you and explain who the Holy Spirit is and what the Holy Spirit's job is and how the Holy Spirit helps us. Okay, and by the end of this, we are going to write another short little prayer to the Holy Spirit. And then once we've done that, we'll actually do this over 2 lessons, but once we've finished it, there's going to be well, you'll understand all about the Trinity then, all the 3 parts of the Trinity. Okay, so let's have a look at our first slide and see what we're up to. All right. So here I am. I'll read through this, and feel free to read along with me if you'd like, and we'll talk about it as we go. Okay, so the Holy Spirit. Jesus appeared to his disciples a number of times before he ascended into heaven. Okay, so this is after Jesus died on the cross. Jesus did appear to his disciples a number of times. But the Holy Spirit was sent to the disciples to help them to continue Jesus' work and spread his message around the world. The Holy Spirit helps all of us to do the right thing and be closer to God. Now, you might remember, boys and girls, when we were learning about Easter, we learned all about how Jesus died on the cross on Good Friday and came back on Easter Sunday. But for a long time, the disciples, Jesus wasn't hanging around all the time. The disciples, all of Jesus' friends, were lost without him. They didn't know what to do. They were scared and they were confused. And it was the Holy Spirit that helped them through that time and gave them the courage and strength to do what they needed to do. And the Holy Spirit does the same for us. When we're going through a hard time or facing difficult things, the Holy Spirit can help us get through it. Okay? Now, in order to understand how the Holy Spirit does, we're actually going to look at the symbols of the Holy Spirit, and I'll show them to you here. Okay? These are the symbols of the Holy Spirit. And as it says, the Holy Spirit is represented in the Christian church through different symbols. Remember, we don't actually know what the Holy Spirit looks like. So these symbols represent how the Holy Spirit works. Okay? And today we're going to look at 3 of them for your Tuesday lesson, and then we'll look at the other 3 on your Wednesday lesson tomorrow. Okay? So let's start with the first symbol here, the dove. Okay, a dove. When Jesus was baptized in the River Jordan, a dove appeared. The dove was a physical sign of God's presence, meaning it showed that it's a symbol that God is really here with us. The dove also represents God bringing peace to mankind through Jesus and his sacrifice. Okay, now you might remember that, like a lot of people in the class, Jesus was also baptized by John the Baptist. You might remember that story from a while ago. If not, don't worry, I could tell you that one another time. But when Jesus was baptized, the water was poured over his head, and it says in the Bible that God descended on him like a dove. Okay, and that's where the story comes from. This symbol that a dove represents the Holy Spirit, part of God. Okay, so this is a pretty cool story, and you'll always see the dove is probably one of the most common symbols for the Holy Spirit. But as it says here, the dove also represents God bringing peace to mankind through Jesus and Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. But this peace to mankind is an important part. The Holy Spirit does help us to be peaceful and to bring peace to mankind. If you're feeling upset or angry, the Holy Spirit can help you to feel calmer and to forgive people. When there's conflict or problems between people, the Holy Spirit can help us to see things the way Jesus would want and to help us to act the way Jesus would want. And the Holy Spirit can really help us be more peaceful. And so that's one of the cool jobs of the Holy Spirit. Let's have a look at another one. Okay, next really popular symbol of the Holy Spirit is fire. Okay, now I'll read this first and then I'll explain it. When the disciples received the gift of the Holy Spirit, flames appeared on their heads as a sign they were filled with the transforming energy of the Holy Spirit. This energy would help them in the work ahead, teaching others about Jesus and encouraging more followers. Okay, so what does this mean? When I was just talking about after Jesus died, Jesus' friends and his disciples, they were very scared and they were very worried. And the Holy Spirit came to them and gave them the courage to go out and teach people and to get out and work on their own without Jesus showing them every step of the way of what to do. You know, it gave them the courage to go out on their own. Now, in the story that we're going to be learning about in a couple of weeks called Pentecost, this is actually when the Holy Spirit came to them, and in the Bible it talks about fire, tongues of fire being above their head, and that was the symbol of that the Holy Spirit was with them. We'll hear that story later on, so when we talk about it, you might remember this. But the Holy Spirit there came and helped them. So if we have a look here, it says that the Holy Spirit, okay, this energy would help them in the work ahead, teaching others about Jesus and encouraging more followers. So this is another job that the Holy Spirit does. And this is what the fire represents. The Holy Spirit can help give us courage and strength to do what we need to do. Okay? And that's a really cool and special job that the Holy Spirit has. It gives us this courage and it gives us this strength, especially during hard times. Okay? Now, the disciples at the time, they were scared because, Jesus had just been killed on the cross not long ago, and they were worried that the same thing could happen to them. So it took a lot of courage and strength to go out among the people and to do the things that Jesus did. But the Holy Spirit gave them that courage and strength. And the Holy Spirit can do the same for us. When we're scared or worried or fearful of doing something that we should or need to, the Holy Spirit can help us with that. So another cool job of the Holy Spirit. The last one we will look at today is wind. Okay. Now, when the Holy Spirit was sent to the disciples, this is when, the tongues of fire came above their head that we just talked about. Okay, it arrived with a great wind rushing through the room. Now, that's also part of the Bible story, the wind rushing through and the fire. Okay? So, the symbol of the wind also represents the breath of God, breathing new life into the church. Okay. So this is why that story is another reason why wind is a symbol of the Holy Spirit. Okay? And when we talk about the breath of God breathing new life, like the wind is almost like God breathing on us. It's not really, but it's a symbol. Okay? It's like God breathing life into us and giving us another chance and helping us to start again and have a fresh breath, a fresh bit of energy to give things another try. Okay? And that's another cool job of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so we've done 3 today. Okay? We've done 3. We have looked at the dove, okay, which was the symbol of like peace. Okay? The fire, which was that courage and strength and help from the Holy Spirit. And the wind, which was that like breath of fresh air, that new life that comes from the Holy Spirit. So remember, the Holy Spirit is God. And God does all of these things. And it helps us to understand it by understanding these different jobs that God does. So, boys and girls, today your job is a small one. Okay? We're going to write the first half of a prayer. We're going to do half of it today, and then you'll do the other half tomorrow, because I'll do the other 6 symbols, water, the oil, and the clouds here. We'll do those ones tomorrow, okay? But we're just going to do this first half. So this prayer is simply going to start, Holy Spirit. And under here, I want you to write 3 things that we can ask the Holy Spirit to do. For example, we just learned that the Holy Spirit helps bring peace to people. So we could say, Holy Spirit, help us to be peaceful. Or bring peace to our world. Something like that. And you just have to do it in dot points. It's just fine. Just pick something about that. And the second one, we learned about this Holy Spirit giving us courage and strength. So we could say that for the second one. Holy Spirit, give us courage and strength to do what is right, or something like that. You can copy me, or you can make your own. And last of all, the wind. You can do one from this. Something like, Holy Spirit, please give us the gift of new life and help us to start again when we make a mistake. You can make it up, okay? Anything you'd like. So have a look at that. I just want 3 different things. If you can, put one from each of the symbols that we learned about, but you don't have to. If you can't think of one for wind, for example, you can do 2 from fire, something like that. So do the first half of the prayer, so those 3 points, and you're allowed to follow it up with 3 pictures there, if you have time. Now remember, I say if you have time because you're only supposed to do Religion Today for half an hour. So if it takes a half an hour for you to get that prayer done, then stop there. But if you get that done easily, you've watched this video, you got it all done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then add a picture. And when you do, I'd like you to add each of the symbols, okay, that we've learned so far. So the dove, the fire, and the wind. You can copy the pictures on this video, or you can do some of your own. That's fine. So we're going to leave it at that for today's lesson, and I'll have another video like this tomorrow for the next 3 symbols of the Holy Spirit. Okay, thanks boys and girls. I look forward to seeing some of your work. Some of you guys have been sending me some really great prayers. Very impressed. And but you don't need to send it to me today. You can send it to me tomorrow once you've finished it all. Okay, so that'll probably be a little bit easier for you. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you again tomorrow.